Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time is up at Manchester United. We have endured a very poor start to the season. We have lost 3 of our first opening 6 Premier League games, and all them defeats have come at Old Trafford. It's our worst start at Old Trafford for like 50 years, so we have not yet won at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. And we've lost 4 games in all competitions now, because we recently lost to Istanbul Başakşehir by 2-1. You know, that was our first defeat in the Champions League group stage. And it's embarrassing because Istanbul Başakşehir were formed in 1990. It's their first ever time in the Champions League, and yesterday was their first ever win in the Champions League. They'd lost their first 2 games in the group stage against PSG and RB Leipzig. And obviously they're currently sitting 7th in the Turkish league at the moment. They won the Turkish league though last season. We was looking to make it 3 wins on the trot in the Champions League group stage. You know, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that Solskjaer has not been sacked now. I'm surprised he's been given this amount of time, because I think if it had been any other manager, they would have been sacked by now. But I think the main explanation why we've been so patient with Ole is because he is a club legend. Obviously, Solskjaer endured 11 years as a player for Manchester United, didn't he? But he isn't good enough as a manager. Like I've said to you before, he hasn't got that proven pedigree behind him. You know, Manchester United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. You know, he's managed 101 games now for Man United in all competitions. And obviously he has got a contract with the football club until 2022. We've got Everton on Saturday. I think if we lose that game against Everton, Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. Everton will be a very tough game. Everton are sitting, 4th in the league at the moment. Everton have lost their last 2 league games though. They lost to Newcastle and they also lost to Southampton. But Carlo Ancelotti is a very good manager, like I've said. You know, he's been at Everton now for almost a year. When Everton appointed him in, he signed a 4.5 year deal, was it, with them. And he's won around 15 major honours in his managerial career. So he has got a good pedigree behind him. You know, Everton did make some good signings in the summer transfer window. You know, they brought James Rodriguez in, they brought Decore in, they brought Allen in, they brought Ben Godfrey in, you know, they brought Nkudu in. And they've got other good players in their team. You know, they've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they've got Richarlison. He's suspended for the game on Saturday. They've got Bernard. They did have Theo Walcott, but he's been loaned out to Southampton. They've also got Alex Iwobi. They've got the likes of Sigurdsson, Andrea Gomez. I think Andrea Gomez has recently been out with injury. They've got Lucas Digne, who's a very good left back for them. They've got Michael Keane, who's obviously a former Man United player. Seamus Coleman, he's still at Everton. He's out with injury. They've got Mason Holgate. He's out with injury as well. So yeah, this will be a very tough game. We've been beat at Goodison Park a few times in recent years. Obviously drew there last season 1-1, but in April 2019 lost there by 4-0. One of the worst defeats we've had under Ole. We lost at Goodison Park under Louis van Gaal 3-0, and we lost there under David Moyes 2-0. After Everton, it is the international break, and after the international break, it's West Brom at home. Isn't it? Now, Mauricio Pochettino is the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. Now, like I've updated you, Mauricio Pochettino was on Monday Night Football, and he doesn't know where his next club's going to be, but he says he misses football and he wants a return to management. Mauricio Pochettino was linked with the managerial role at Man United after Jose Mourinho got sacked. And obviously a few other clubs have been in for him, you know, Real Madrid, Barcelona. A few weeks ago it said Zenit St Petersburg were in talk over getting him, and at one point Newcastle were interested in him. But from my own perception, Mauricio Pochettino is a better manager than Ole, because obviously he's well Premier League proven. He's dealt with top players. My only element of concern about Mauricio Pochettino is that he hasn't won anything in terms of silverware. And you can say Pochettino's totally contrast to the likes of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and Pep Guardiola at Man City, but I still think he'd be the right man at Man United. Pochettino, he endured 5.5 years at Tottenham. Analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. He didn't win out, but obviously he guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final last year. He guided them to the League Cup final and guided them to 2 FA Cup semi-finals. Obviously, before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton, guided them to their highest ever finish. He endured a short tenure though at Southampton, and before he was at Southampton, he was at Espanyol. Pochettino's been managerless now for like a year. I think Tottenham made a bad mistake by getting rid of him, but if we do appoint him in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. We've also been looking at Massimiliano Allegri as an alternative to him. But, like I said on Match Action, it was very, very poor yesterday by Manchester United. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was taking a risk on his future following his dubious decisions. He's taken responsibility for the unforgivable defending for Demba Ba's first goal. Like I mentioned on the Match Reaction, Ole made around 6 changes from the 1-0 defeat to Arsenal. But like I said, you know, Match Reaction, Istanbul Başakşehir fully deserved the win. Now, not all of the blame stems from Ole, does it? I think there's definitely players that have got to take responsibility at Manchester United. We've obviously been demanding the board out for several years because our recruitment policy's been poor for a lot of years now. We've also made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years or so, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. And Ole hasn't been backed enough at Manchester United. It's as simple as that. In the summer transfer window, missed out on all of his priority targets. I don't think any of our managers have been backed enough since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, to be honest with you. But in my opinion, we need a new manager. We need a clear out at the club, because there's players at Manchester United that are not good enough. And I also think that we need a new board. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's still no philosophy. There's no system. In a lot of Ole's games, his team selections have been very, very poor, haven't they? Now, there's not all negativity regarding Ole. Like I've said before, I've taken quite a few positives from his tenure. I like the way that he's promoted the youth. I think He showed tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games. He has made some good signings since he got appointed in as Man United manager. You know, he's spent over £200 million since he came at the club, and he's enjoyed around 4 transfer windows. Molly's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. We've also had some good periods under him. So, you know, and credit him for what he did last season, because last season he got us qualification for the Champions League. Also got us third and guided us to 3 semi-finals, and last season was his first full season at the football club. So these positives you can take. But he isn't good enough, and I think it'll cost us around £4 million to sack Ollie, but that's totally contrast to the 18 million that we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho. You know, Solskjaer's in the exact same position as what he was in at the first part of last season, because at the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. And at that point, Ollie was very close to getting sacked by the football club. But like I said to you, during the summer transfer window, you know, Solskjaer was very frustrated with the board. And I said he was in the exact same position as what Jose Mourinho was in at the club. Because Jose Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Man United. Obviously won 3 trophies in his first season, but Mourinho made it clear to our board in the summer of 2018 that he wanted a defender. Obviously never got that defender in, did he? And that's one of the main explanations why it didn't work out for Mourinho at Man United. Mourinho, though, did have bad disputes with the board anyway. He obviously didn't get on with the top players. Some people think Paul Pogba's the main reason why Jose Mourinho got sacked by the football club. But I think Ollie is in a position that he shouldn't be in, like I said on my recent videos. I think Man United made a mistake by giving him the job permanently, but the main explanation for giving the job permanently was reflect on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. You know what I mean? Obviously, we've been in the process of trying to get a director of football in. Like I said, that's one of the structural changes that we need at the football club, is a director of football. We've been in the process of trying to get one since like the Jose Mourinho era. Don't forget, before there was a few former Man United players linked with the director's role. A few weeks ago, there was talk saying that was interested in hiring Luis Campos in. You know. But in the last 7 years or so, Manchester United have been playing catch-up. Obviously, you know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. We've spent close to the £1 billion range on players, and we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. You know, haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so I haven't won it now for over 7 years. Like I said, it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United or any manager in general to replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, no one will last as long as Ferguson did as well. Ferguson endured 27 years at the club. He won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles, but Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. So it does take some managers time. You know, Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool, and look how good he is now. But I think Ollie's had long enough. You know, he's in his second full season now as Manchester United manager, isn't he? But yeah, like I said, the success came under Ferguson, because since he left, we've really struggled. We struggled before he came into the equation, because we weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We weren't good under Wolf McGuinness. I think Wolf McGuinness enjoyed around 18 months at the club. We weren't good under Frank O'Farrell. Got relegated under Frank O'Farrell back in 1974, which is over 40 odd years ago now. We are making plans for next year, because next year we're looking to make a couple of more signings. I think Manchester United need a centre-half, and we also need a right winger. We'll be looking to offload more players next year. There is still obviously no deadwood in the squad. I think next year we'll be looking to offload Lingard, Rojo, Jones, Romero. Romero's obviously said he wants his contract terminated. Daniel James, he could be loaned down next year. So too could Brandon Williams, because he's going to find game time hard now following the arrival of Alex Telles. Matic, do you think he could be sold next year because he's aging up now? He wasn't too good yesterday against Istanbul Başakşehir. Do you think we could sell Juan Mata next year? Juan Mata wasn't too good against Istanbul Başakşehir yesterday. Juan Mata started a few games this season for Manchester United. I'm expecting Paul Pogba to leave the club next year. But like I've said to you, we have got good players in our team. You know, Marcus Rashford's very, very good. Now, he wasn't good yesterday against Istanbul Başakşehir. And he wasn't that good against Arsenal, but obviously against Leipzig he was good when he came on because he scored a hat-trick for Man United and he became the second Man United player to score a hat-trick as a substitute. Also scored the late winner in Paris. Second time he'd done that. Rashford was recently turned 23 years of age. You know, Rashford has been part of the club for several years. You know, Rashford's been at United since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. Edinson Cavani, now, we brought him in on deadline day, got him on a free transfer. He signed a 2-year contract with the club worth around 220 grand a week. So far, he's made 4 substitute appearances as Edinson Cavani, sorry. So he's not yet started for Manchester United and weren't too good yesterday when he came on. Edinson Cavani, was it? I said to you, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, Mason Greenwood, I think he's good. Weren't that good yesterday when he came on. Don't forget we had a few issues with Mason Greenwood near the start of the season because he was withdrawn from the England squad a few times. In recent weeks, Solskjaer's defended Mason Greenwood and denied that his timekeeping was poor. Anthony Martial, I think, is a good player. Obviously, he wasn't good yesterday against Başakşehir, but obviously, you know, he was the one that scored our goal. Good header, to be fair. Martial was very, very good last season under Ole, and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's enjoyed a good 5 years or so now at the football club. He's available now in the Premier League because he served his 3-match suspension. Bruno Fernandes, I think, is good. He's one of our best players, but I tell you what, yesterday, that was his worst game in a Manchester United shirt. You know, he was dispossessed 34 times, like I mentioned on the match reaction. There's been a few games where Bruno Fernandes looked off the pace and he's lacked that composure and that, but in the vast majority of his games, he has been consistent. You know, Bruno Fernandes has been at the football club now for around 9 months. Now, Donny van de Beek, I think he's a good player. He wasn't good yesterday, though, against Istanbul Başakşehir. You know, lacked that creativity. Don't understand why Ollie brought him off in the game, to be honest with you. Donny van de Beek has not yet made his full Premier League debut for the football club. Solskjaer's been talking about him. You know, he spoke about him before the RB Leipzig game, saying that he will be an important player for Man United and he will play a big part this year. And Solskjaer did actually explain why he hasn't been playing him much. We paid £40 million for him from Ajax. And he signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year, and he currently wears that number 34 shirt, doesn't he? So yeah, you know, there is some good players at Manchester United, but, you know, there's also players that are poor as well. But there's players that are poor that have still had good games since they came to Manchester United. Paul Pogba, I think he's poor, but he's had some good periods. Couple, he did well towards the end of last season under Ole, and he did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Prior to that, he's been very, very inconsistent. Paul Pogba cost us the game against Arsenal because he was the one that gave the penalty away because he brought Hector Bellerin down. Paul Pogba had apologised for that stupid mistake he had made. I think Paul Pogba will end up going to Real Madrid, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I know there's obviously been rumours of him going back to Juventus. He did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. Barcelona and PSG have been in for him before. Now, we can cash in for him next summer because a few weeks ago, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, Paul Pogba, didn't we? So he's under contract with the club until 2022. He's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. Now, Matic, I wouldn't say he's that good. I wouldn't say he's bad, because I think he's had some good games as a Man United player. He had some good games towards the end of last season, but Matic is obviously now ageing up at Manchester United, isn't he? Was it at the start of the season? He signed a 3-year deal with the football club. Fred, he's good sometimes. Fred didn't play any part, by the way, yesterday, did he? I said he was going to be dropped because Fred had started our last 4 or 5 games prior to the one yesterday. We paid big money for Fred. We paid £52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk, but I still think he's improved a lot under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Fred's got a contract with us until 2023. Scott McTominay, he came on yesterday. He's good sometimes and sometimes he's poor, McTominay. Started a lot with Fred recently, hasn't he? I think just after the first lockdown, McTominay signed a 5-year deal at Manchester United, so he committed his future with the club. Now, Luke Shaw, he can have poor games, but he can also have some good games. Luke Shaw yesterday started. I thought he was poor. Obviously, he did get the assist for Martial's goal, and he did put some crosses into the box, didn't he, Luke Shaw? And an element of concern I've got about Luke Shaw, he is injury prone, isn't he? Harry Maguire, now, he wasn't good yesterday against Istanbul Basaksehir. Would I say he's good? Well, he's good sometimes and sometimes he's poor. He's enjoyed a lot of bad games as a Man United player since he came in. Obviously, he did rejuvenate himself recently before the Basaksehir game, had a good few games. Obviously, he had early season troubles, did Maguire, didn't he? Because he had that incident in Greece the other month and he got sent off in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark, don't forget, and he sustained a few knocks, did Maguire. And Maguire, during the press conference prior to this game against Basaksehir, was asked about his form, his leadership and his impact of the summer. And he just insists, that he's focusing on his football. Harry Maguire is our current captain. We got him in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester, so he's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, Maguire. Axel Tuanzebe. Don't really have a perception on him at the moment. I have a perception on him from yesterday because I thought he was very, very poor and he was accountable for Istanbul Basaksehir's first goal. That was his second start for Man United in the Champions League. Tuanzebe was very, very good against PSG though. Got to give him credit for that. The way that I dealt with Mbappe and Neymar was good. And that game against PSG was his first start for Man United in 10 months. Pasaka. Sometimes he can be good, sometimes he can be poor. He was poor yesterday against Basaksehir. His crossing was poor. His positioning was poor. He was very poor on the ball. And he was poor against Arsenal, but I think in the 4 games prior to the Arsenal one, he was very, very consistent with Pasaka. Pasaka's into his second season at Manchester United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace last summer. David De Gea, give him credit, he's rejuvenated himself recently. De Gea, you know, he's made some very, very good saves. You know, De Gea didn't start though yesterday, did he, in goal? He was rested. It was Dean Henderson that started, and that was Dean Henderson's Champions League debut. To be honest with you, Dean Henderson didn't really have much to do apart from take the ball out of his net twice. You know what I mean? Juan Mata, I think he's good. He's a good player. But like I said, he's aging up now, Juan Mata, and he has lost that yard of pace, hasn't he? Juan Mata wasn't good yesterday whatsoever, but I thought he was good in both our Carabao Cup games against Brighton and Luton, and he was pretty good against Newcastle and all of that, and wasn't bad against Chelsea. You know, Juan Mata's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at the football club and scored 50 goals for us in all competitions. Paid just under £40 million to him from Chelsea back in 2014. A few weeks ago, rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? And obviously, you know, we've got Lingard doesn't get in the team now. Jones doesn't get in the team. Jones has been injured and he's had an operation, like Ollie recently said. Ollie said he could still play a part this season. Rojo doesn't obviously get in the team. Rojo's never really established himself as a first-team regular since he came in from Sporting Lisbon in 2014. Romero obviously doesn't get in now. Romero is our third choice goalkeeper, isn't he? You know what I mean? Eric Bailly, he's obviously out with a muscle injury. He's out for a few weeks, and that's my element of concern about Eric Bailly. He's too injury prone. I think Eric Bailly's better than Lindelof, but he's too injury prone, like I said. Lindelof, I think he's had a back injury. This is why he didn't play yesterday, by the way. Got to update you on my match reaction. Victor Lindelof's definitely not on Harry Maguire's level. Alex Telles, he's going to be a good signing for Man United, I think. Obviously, he didn't play yesterday because he's having another test for COVID, and obviously it's got to be negative, but not so long ago, he got tested positive for COVID-19, did Telles. I think Telles will be a good signing for Man United, like I said. We got him for around €15 million from Porto, with add-ons included. And he signed a 4-year deal with the club with an option of a further year. Lingard, yeah, like I said, has been out with a knock. So, there you go. So, yeah, where do Manchester United go from here then? Your preview for the Everton game will be coming up later on today. And I presume Ollie will be doing his press conference tomorrow. So I will be giving you my reaction for that. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.